They're starting to be like those old dogs that I brought in here. Now it's starting to smell like old dead dog in here. Just an example. That's just a metaphor of the relationship with your mother.
Season 2, episode 2. I know when we first started this, I got really excited and I would declare which, by the way, we got our Pellegrino. We need to get the mugs back on the table so soon, so we can do that. But we've been sipping on some Pelly over here. Yeah. This is the dad voice. I know I was excited.
Pelly boys.
Yeah, the Pelly boys over at the Dad Voice Studios. I know I was excited when we first started this. I was announcing every episode, but I realized that it could create the idea that this is a linear thing. It's not.
The only thing linear about life is death at the end.
Jesus Christ, man, you good? This episode, I'm gonna give like a trigger warning disclaimer here at the beginning.
Probably appropriate.
We have an anonymous dad advice that was sent to us, and this is going to be an episode where I talk a lot, but I will warn everyone that I will be talking about some of the abuse I endured as a child, physical, mental, emotional, and we will be talking about, separating from your family, and there are some people who are not going to want to hear this stuff. There are some people who will need to hear this stuff. I have spoken very, what's the word, loosely, I guess, about the upbringing I had.
You definitely, you've mentioned a couple of different things that could lead someone to be like, probably not good.
I didn't have an easy childhood. And that's a very general statement, because I know a ton of people that had it way worse than I did. People that just didn't have a great time, and so I don't want to minimize that, but I'm not here to tell their story. I'm here to tell mine. So just be warned as we go into this episode that it's probably going to be a heavy one, but we are going to try our best to use our gift of humor to kind of lighten the blow a little bit. And
you got spanked with the neurospicy triad: physical, mental, emotional abuse.
Yeah, and on top of that, being ADHD and autistic, like it's the perfect storm, for a podcast host.
You're a storm.
I am a storm. That's correct.
A whirling dervish.
The whirling dervish.
You're fucking up all the signals in our cracker hive mind sometimes, man.
Everybody's getting bummed out, bro. The cracker hive mind.
So I'm sitting in bad vibes. I'm trying to listen to Limp Bizkit in the cracker hive mind. All you are doing is just playing break stuff over and over again.
It's the Durst curse.
I just tried to fight my mom.
Your mother is a saint.
She is. She's a good lady.
She's a nice lady.
I had a good life and you did. All right, that's as far as I'll go. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's what we need, because this one's gonna bite. But no, if you don't get the cracker hive mind thing, check out. It'll be, by the time this one comes out, it'll be 2 Dad Blast back, right?
Yeah. What the hell? We forgot to mention it in the last one.
Yeah,
I wasn't tuned into the cracker hive.
We shut out the cracker hive mind. It's all this new shit. It's the signals are throwing us off.
We put some special foam in here to shut out the cracker hive mind. Because I can't take it anymore. I keep hearing the word granola and just like top 20 best places to eat in Austin. Like, God.
Who keeps thinking about buying another Tesla? Shut up.
I also get funnier when I get nervous that someone is about to experience emotions in front of me too. So
don't worry.
That's my own little.
I've done quite a good job of just stuffing it down in there and making sure it never comes out again.
Let's bust you wide open, buddy.
Oh, buddy. I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna try my best not to get emotional or cry. But I've been to therapy. Okay, I've spent a lot of time in therapy, and sometimes you feel what you feel, and you got to let yourself feel it.
You do need to. And if I smirk or anything, it's just
discomfort.
Something about watching a 6'6" man cry in front of a mini little kid's kitchen. So,
one day we got to get our view of what this place looks like.
Yeah, literally.
Because they only see like the black drop and everything.
We need to get you crying, bent over, shaking, trying to put like fake coffee together over it.
Cutting a fake fruit, a Velcro fruit. No more deflection. Let's get into this. And by the way, you actually do have a lot that you can provide here. You have a degree in psychology. We're not going to minimize that. Yeah. And I'd actually value your input on some of this. So
thank you.
As we go through this,
I actually value your input.
I meant from the psychological. You're not my therapist, but I feel like you'd have a lot to add from having that educational background. So
yeah, let's just go right into it.
Our anonymous dad advice, it says, how do you go about and uphold boundaries when you go no contact? How do you go about family events if you are still in contact with the rest of the family? And how do you deal with the guilt that's left from their manipulation? Okay.
That's tough.
It's a tough one.
That is 3 tough questions in a row.
And I'm going to do my best to answer them. And I think that, you're
speaking from experience.
I'm speaking from experience, and you would offer a perspective of someone who's maybe not necessarily to counter what I'm saying, but a different idea.
Well, and the thing is also is that happens in my family too. It just happens to be I'm still cool with my actual parents, but our family, they have gone no contact with a lot of members of their own family. So I mean, I've seen it from a slightly further perspective, but
right.
You still see what it does to your parents.
Well, the other thing is, like, our generation, millennials in particular, I've noticed, but Gen Z too, I'm hearing a lot of it, are a lot more open to just cutting out the toxic people in their lives. And the generations before us, and like my own family, they don't always get it, but then they do get it with my mom. I think my brother struggles with it the most. I think he might not get it because he still is in her life. But I have gone.
Complicates it a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And I love my brother. And unfortunately, for a good chunk of his life, I was out of the picture because of the fact that I was no contact with my mother and he was still living with her. But I have been no contact with my mother for a decade.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. My mother has never met my children. My mother sneak attacked my wife one time while she was at work to meet her and tried to tell my wife what a bad guy I am and to be cautious. And
that's a terrible thing to do.
It is a terrible thing to do. But that is the extent of the relationship my wife has ever had with my mother. This episode is not going to be me demonizing my mother. My mom is unwell, okay? She has bipolar disorder. She has borderline personality disorder. She has had substance abuse problems for...
Yeah, those go hand in hand.
Yeah, for as long as I can remember, particularly alcoholism and prescription drug abuse. And the worst part of all of that is the fact that she never openly acknowledged it. She obviously went to a therapist to get diagnosed with borderline and bipolar. But especially with borderline, what's the treatment for borderline?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes. Okay. There you go. I think cognitive behavioral therapy is a general term, right? Like it encompasses quite a bit. But yeah, so the treatment for borderline is cognitive behavioral therapy, which means that you have to get in there and you have to make the fucking.
That's the toughest thing to get people to do too, because it's not just a pill. You have to put in work.
Yeah.
And when your life's already insane because you're making it that way because of your illness, you're like, I don't have the energy to go do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, it's not even, again, I need to clarify that everything I express in this episode is from my perspective. I do not have the degree in psychology. You do. But this is my experience with someone with borderline personality disorder.
That's one of the scariest disorders.
It is.
Too. It's whenever you hear about someone who has BPD, you're like, all right, Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that's such a good example, because for my mother, it was never, hey, you have borderline, you need to get into cognitive behavioral therapy. Let's get you worked out so that we can practice it and get better about this stuff. It was, you have borderline personality disorder. she immediately stopped going to that therapist that gave her the diagnosis, and everyone became the enemy. Everyone was out to get her. And for our entire lives, we grew up with that. It was never her fault. To this day, my mother has never acknowledged the abuse that she inflicted on me or my brother. To this day, my mother still thinks that I am the reason that we are no contact and that it's because I'm such an awful person. Okay?
Would not be surprised if she ran for president.
Yeah, she could. She could do it.
Yeah. Current qualifications wise.
Yeah. And it's getting looser and looser. But the thing about it is I had to handle this my own way. Okay?
As you do when you don't have a right parent. It was right in the head.
And my dad has been supportive of me going no contact. I don't think that my relationship with my dad is skewed or strained anymore. But it was for the longest time because my mother was constantly telling us, your dad doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to pay child support for you. You can't go live with him. If you do, you have to leave school, leave all of your friends, and go do whatever he's going to have you do, which...
Nothing more loving than hitting a child with an ultimatum.
Right, yeah, exactly. And we found out later as we were adults, because my brother ended up, after a while, leaving my mom's house, and he finished high school out in Winston with my dad. But for the longest time, we thought, like, oh, dad doesn't want us, dad can't. And she played it well, because at the same time, my dad met my stepmother. He had 2 stepkids. My stepsister graduated valedictorian at her high school and then got a full ride scholarship to Duke. Okay.
How old is she?
She's our age.
Oh.
So, not at our high school though.
Yeah.
I don't want to dox her and say the high school, but she graduated valedictorian. She got a full ride scholarship to Duke. I was the partier. I got into trouble for drinking. I was smoking pot.
Oh, now you and I are starting to get similar, even though we may have come from slightly different
I was into
backgrounds.
Hardcore music, sneaking out to go to shows, all that stuff. So it was easy for her to weave a story that your dad doesn't want your problems.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you around. And then we got older and we talked to dad and we were like, maybe being with you would have helped us. And he was like, what are you talking about? And we were like, well, that's why you didn't want us to be with you. He's like, I never said that one time in my life.
He's like, it's my job to have your problems.
Yeah, he was like,
it's okay.
He was like, I thought I was making it easier for you by not asking and not pushing a custody fight because I didn't want to uproot you guys from your lives. And so we found out that he was paying child support. Him and my mom had a deal that was off the table. He was paying a shitload of money. Every time it would come school time, he would give her money to go get us school stuff, and she would end up doing it, but she'd act like it was such a burden and everything like that. My mom's an entrepreneur.
That's such a classic narcissist thing too.
Yeah.
Is making people seem like burdens, so they're more likely to do stuff for you or act how you want them to act.
And it was a manipulation game all the way through. And my mom would always like, this is what I do for you. And this is that particular mindset that she carried is exactly why I have such a problem with any parent that sits there and goes, well, I gave you life, so you have to, clean my house for me and do all this stuff for me, and you owe me. Let me tell you something. And I will never flex away from this thought. So we can clip this. You can get in the comments, talk mad shit, whatever. I'm not backing down off this idea.
We actually encourage it.
Yeah, we do. You brought your kids into this world. There is not one single person that is alive that said, I want to be alive. Okay? You are brought into this world. Your parents have decided to have a child. I decided to have a kid. I decided to have 2.
You doubled down.
I doubled down.
You doubled down.
And it is in no way, shape, or form my children's responsibility to carry any of my burdens, to do anything other than exist as a child and help. The way I explain it to our oldest, Luca, is we are a family. And so when you help clean the house, when you help do chores, when you help pull things through for the family, you are working as part of our group. And
it's appreciated, but not forced or required.
Right. And I've also explained to him, you don't have to clean your room, but when it's a pigsty and we've told you, hey, you should clean your room, and you refuse to do it, and you say, I'll do it later, don't ask us for help. Like, that's your space. We told you, hey, we made this space for you, and you've seen my kid's room. His room's badass.
We set up your environment.
Right.
And it's good for you to learn how to be a good steward and tend to your environment.
And it also allows us to teach him empathy. It allows us to teach him how to work as a group, because when he realizes, oh, because I'm not pulling my weight in the group, they're not going to reach out and do the extra for me. Of course we do the extra stuff that we as parents are. First off, you should never hold clothing, food, shelter over your kid's head. Those are the bare fucking minimum standards, okay?
Yeah.
That is what you are obligated to do as a parent. That is not a privilege. You do not give those to your children as gifts.
Yeah.
That is your fucking responsibility, and if you hold that over your kid's head, go fuck yourself.
Those are not to be used as tools for manipulation.
Absolutely not.
That's how you treat animals.
Yes, and even then, my cat's a fucking freeloader.
Yeah, I was going to say, even my cat, I'm like, I'm so sorry, princess, did I hurt you?
My cats, both are fucking freeloaders and stink up my house with their shit, and I still let them hang out.
Yeah.
And they don't have jobs. They're not doing anything. But
I'm like, can you just at least get half of the throw up on the floor, not the carpet?
Can you just eat
It's
it?
okay. That's all I'm asking. I'm sorry, sweetie.
I noticed most of the throw up was the food that you ate too fast. So could you just re-eat it?
Yeah.
That way we're not wasting food.
Yeah.
And the cat's like,
I love you.
I'll get to it when I can. Whatever. But no.
No, I'm just going to scratch your child now.
I'm going to go make the kid scream. I'll be back.
And then I'm going to somehow blame the child because I've had the cat longer.
But the reason that that's such a soft spot for me is because of the fact that shit was held over my head. I give you this, I give you that. And it's like, you gave me the bare minimum, and even then you still fell short.
You're like, what the? You're not a vending machine. You're a fucking parent, dude. Like, this is not like, this is not give and take. This is you give. You give because you decided that I need to be here.
Right. And
there's not even a take in this scenario.
Like,
this kid right here is not taking.
Right. And there was
He's not taking anything from you.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is like you. And there were so many fights where my mom would throw shit out at me like I should have had an abortion. I never should have had you. I should have given you up. And after a while, you hear that so many times.
You said, shut the fuck up, cracker.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I would start throwing it back and be like, why didn't you then? Like,
good for you.
You get tired of hearing it. And after a while...
She'd be like, what were you too broke to?
At that point, an ugly magnifying glass.
Your wit is starting to make sense.
Yeah. It was fostered out of necessity. But
now we can capitalize on it.
Hell yeah.
Fuck it, you may as well.
Might as well. Turn my trauma into money, baby. Let's do it.
And only to help this anonymous person, I'll try to make a point based on what they said. Because you said something when you were talking about your dad was like, well, he was like, I just thought like I didn't want to rip you out of your situation. I thought me helping you would mess you up. Communication.
Yeah.
And that goes to how do you go about family events if you're still in contact with the rest of the family? You should, I don't know, but you should probably tell the rest of the family,
you
hey,
need to be open with that.
It's going to be weird.
That's an important thing too, is because my dad never knew, and it's because our mother was the only point of contact, and she was the bridge between us and our father. We always had our dad's number, but we were constantly being told he doesn't want to talk to you, he doesn't want to be a part of your life, and so we thought, why reach out to dad? We're going to burden him. We don't want to do that. We get to see him every once in a while. Let's just keep things good. We get to go to Chili's with him twice a month. Like, fuck yeah. I love,
hell yeah.
The appetizers are great. So
it's almost like your mom made you feel guilty, so you wouldn't.
Right.
Sounds like another thing that's not your fault.
My mother is incredibly intelligent in the most supervillain type way.
You know what the weird thing is? Bipolar or BPD, a lot of those do go hand in hand with higher intelligence.
Yes. It's insane.
Your brain be firing too much.
And she was so good. And I should also express that my grandmother is a German immigrant that came from Germany during the Holocaust wartime. Okay, our family is a broken family. My grandmother was horrifically abusive to my mother and all of her other kids, and But that's not an excuse ever.
No, because guess what? You fucking broke it.
That's the cycle that when we say you have to break the cycle, when we say you have to be better than the ones before you, that is what you do. I'm not a perfect dad. I wouldn't even call myself a good dad. Okay, but I would. I'm fucking, thanks, man. But I'm trying.
I'll override your self-esteem issues and help you out there.
Thanks.
I'll throw you one.
But
mean it.
I am trying my best to make sure that I never fall into those cycles. Like, I will never hit my kids. I will never look at my children and go, hey, this is your fault. When my son upsets me, and I mean, I can't really talk to a 3-year-old because he's 3.
That's their job.
Yeah.
Is to upset you. That's the only way they can get your attention.
Right.
It's the only way they can get a response out of you.
But
just rage baiting little toddlers.
That's exactly what it is. But the 8-year-old, when he upsets me, I don't just go, like, oh my God, get out of my face. I don't want to talk to you right now. I sit there and I go, hey, I'm upset with you. And then he'll get upset with me and he'll go, hey, we should talk about this, right? And I'm like, let's have a point and I also don't ever believe in punishing him in a way that is not equivalent to the offense, if that makes sense. If he doesn't clean his room and we ask him to do it, when he comes and asks me for help or something like that, I'm just going to say, hey, no, that's your responsibility. You need to clean it up. A perfect example, he was getting frustrated with the game he was playing on his Switch. And I don't know where he learned it. I think it's more of a reflexive thing that we all kind of pick up. But he smashed his fist down on one of his Joy-Cons and he popped it loose.
Immediate consequence.
And he knows Dad can fix electronics. So he brings it to me and he goes, I don't know what happened. And I heard the whole thing. And I said, are you being honest with me? And it took him a minute. He didn't say anything, but then he said no. And I said, okay. So we're going to start this conversation over because I'm very proud of you for being honest with me. But we need to figure out what happened and we need to figure out why it happened. So we had a conversation. And in the end of the conversation, he was still very sad because I told him, I said, I'm going to take this apart and try to fix it, but I don't know if I can. And if it's broken, it's broken. I'm not replacing your Switch. So you understand. So his punishment was, if I can't fix this, you just have a broken Switch.
His punishment was you took your own Switch and then you just smoked him in Fortnite while he had his broken Joy-Con.
He's already going to suffer. He's already going to suffer the consequences of what he did. Now, it would be stupid of me to sit there and go, oh, no, it's fine, buddy. And I'm not going to buy him a new Joy-Con because that would be rewarding that behavior or at the very least saying it's acceptable. And it's not acceptable. It's not. It's not acceptable to lash out like that. We need to be more productive about the way we funnel our anger out. So I told him, I was like, if it's broken, it's broken. I'll try to fix it for you because you did come and apologize and you told the truth. And that matters more to me than anything. Honesty is a super huge thing in our household. But
you're like, son, we didn't break the controllers when we were kids. We would just message a slur to the person we were playing against.
And, he'll get to that point too, I'm sure. But it was an important lesson for him because I didn't lash out. I didn't scream at him. I didn't yell at him. I didn't play an emotionally abusive game with him. I just told him, I was like, if I can't fix this for you, that's your fault. Yeah, you have to accept that.
You're giving them an if-then statement.
Right.
If I break this out of anger, then I will be worse off.
Right.
Because I will now have a broken Joy-Con.
And exactly.
And I'm sorry, but that's just reality.
Yeah, and that's
I'm not
how
being
the world
manipulative.
works.
That's just how it works,
and,
buddy.
And that's
better you learn now than later with something way more important.
Exactly. And that's what I want to teach him. I don't want to teach him how to be fearful of us. I don't want to teach him how to not talk to us. And that's and to circle back around because we've got quite a bit still to hit on this, but that's the point that was never made with me. I was a liar. I was a compulsive liar. I lied to everybody around me about everything. I lied about what my life was like. I lied about the people I knew. I lied about the cool things I was doing. When in reality, I spent most of my weekends during high school trying to find a place to sleep. But I was a compulsive liar because all I was ever told was that the best way to avoid the worst consequences is to be dishonest.
It's avoidance. It's just an avoidance strategy.
I'll provide some context here, but I was a bad student in high school, didn't get good grades. I would basically show up to take the test, but wouldn't do homework or anything like that. And I could always pass the test, but that's not enough, you know? My mother, she's an entrepreneur. She ran her own business out of our home. Anybody who's watching this that went to high school with us knows exactly where her shop is. She's a dog groomer, and it's on the corner.
She lives a quarter mile from my brother.
Yeah, she lives right down the road from our high school. Like I on multiple occasions walked to school from that house. That's
a dangerous curve to walk too.
Yeah, it is. I almost lost life. And people love to throw shit at you, especially from our high school.
Especially at our high school.
Yeah. Her business is run out of the house. And me and my brother both were taught how to... My mom's a dog groomer, so we were taught how to bathe dogs and clean their pads and do their nails and do everything except cut the hair. So what she would do is there were multiple times where she would say, "You're not going to school today. I need help at the shop." And we would work. My mother would
that breaks child labor laws.
By a lot, yeah. My mother also has ADHD. Go fucking figure. But, my mom would do that, and then she would fuck off around 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and she would say, "I got to go run errands, and I got to go do the deposit or whatever, and deposit money and run a bunch of errands." And what she was really doing was driving around, just doing whatever she wanted to do.
It sounds like what a little kid would make up as adult chores.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to go deposit the money again today.
Exactly. And so...
I'm going to go do my taxes for the 5th day in a row.
Which that was a whole other thing, dude. I don't think she has paid her taxes in over a decade. It's crazy, but
one thing I'll say, good for her.
Yeah, but it wasn't out of
it
wasn't out of defiance. It was out of avoidance. But she would go and she'd disappear until 12, 1, 2 o'clock, and we would call her and say, "Hey, the dogs are done," or whatever. And we'd say, "Hey, customers are calling," and she'd say, "Well, I got to do this," and she'd get so pissed off at us, and then she'd finally show up and.
You had to run the damn phone line, too.
Yeah, she'd act frantic and, I got to groom all these dogs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you could have just been here with us doing it.
Then she'd probably be like, "You did a bad job."
Right, yeah. Oh, that always came to us.
You're screwing me over.
Right.
You're screwing me over by not doing
my job.
By not doing child labor.
Right.
How dare you do this to me?
And then she would eventually hire a bather for her shop that would do the job that she was keeping us out of school to do. And then the bather would realize what kind of person she is and separate. And then there was a few people that she caught in the cycle that she would get really close to, because my mom is also, she's a love bomber. So she meets you, she gets attached to you, she blows you up, she'll help you, she'll give you a place to live, she'll put gas in your tank, she'll feed you, she'll buy you gifts, whatever. And then as soon as you piss her off, it all comes back to you. And it's like, I didn't ask for any of this, but you gave it.
That's so classic.
After a while, my grades would start to slip, partially because of that, partially because, I would, there were so many mornings.
Because you're literally not at fucking school.
Yeah,
we didn't have all this virtual learning.
There were so many mornings where we would get into it and she would just beat the shit out of me. And I'd have bruising or scratches down the side of my face, or I'd have chunks of hair falling out from where she grabbed me by the hair. And my mom was vicious.
Then you don't want to go to school.
Right. And that's what it was. Is my mom was vicious.
Another way to keep you home.
And she would snatch you by the hair and close fists, come around your face and just hammer into you. And eventually I got to a point where I was big enough that I would never hit her. I have never ever raised a hand to her or any other woman. But there was a point where I would just grab her wrist and say, "Fucking stop. We're not doing this again." And at that point, that's when I started getting kicked out. Because at that point, she realized...
you stopped showing subservience and submissiveness.
And I wasn't letting her...
She's like, "God damn it, this guy's thinking for himself now.
Yeah.
I may as well just go ahead and be done with this."
And I wasn't...
No putting that back in the bottle.
I wasn't... I took away her control. I took away her method of control. Because at that point, I'd grab her wrist... and she'd come around with the other one, and I'd grab it. And I wouldn't hurt her. I would actually make it an effort not to hurt her. Because I didn't want to hurt her.
Because then she would turn it on you.
Yeah, she would call the cops. And she did it when I grabbed her wrist. It's what she did. And then she would kick me out, and then she'd call the cops and tell them that I was a runaway, and the cops would come to whoever's friend's house I was at, and
you're just like playing Halo, hanging out.
Yeah, and they'd show up and be like, "You got to come home with us." It got so back and forth that for a lot of high school, I'd get kicked out. I'd go sleep on a park bench. I'd go sleep at a friend's house if there was a friend's house. And I've talked about really cool friends I had in high school that their parents were like really loving and kind people, and took me in and helped me and fed me. And eventually my dad found out that this was a cycle, and he was like, well, we can't get you to school out there if you come live with me. But he started helping out the people that were keeping me in school at our high school.
Good compromise.
That was something we all had to sit at a table and talk about. Like he really came to the table literally for me. And that was what they all agreed on. And so he was doing that. He was paying them. And then my mom sent the cops to their house and made me come back to her house because she found out that I was thriving without, like I wasn't dealing with the consequences that she had imposed on me.
Yeah. Worst way to piss off someone like that. They're like, oh, that person's happy? That's not fair. I'm miserable, man.
Throughout high school, there was a lot of that. I would get my ass beat in the mornings. I wouldn't want to come to school, but I would still show up on days where it wasn't that bad. And I would just lie to the counselors or the teachers because the one time I did tell the counselors, it became a whole fucking thing. And I was so worried about getting my brother pulled out of the home. And I was just terrified. So I made it a point to like never talk to anyone again because it went poorly. And you know our administrators at that school, they handled it pretty poorly.
Shocking.
Shortly after high school, I went and lived with someone who I would consider my best friend to this day, and her family, and it worked out for a little while. At the time, we were trapping out of that, like we were selling drugs and shit to get by, but after a while, we had
Did you go make the deposits?
Yeah, we would make the deposits.
You were driving around making deposits.
After a while, we had done that too much, and we were starting to get attention. So it conveniently worked out that their lease was up, and it was on property that the airport owned, and the airport wanted to clear out that property to further develop the airport. So they were like, we're not renewing a lease.
I'm pretty sure you just described FedEx's expansion.
Probably.
I think that's what it was.
Right behind the golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what that was. So we ended up going our own ways. And I just kind of bounced around, had a couple roommates, lived with whoever I could, paid rent where I could. And then ended up meeting a girl that I got pretty into, and she lived out in Southport, North Carolina, which is out by the coast. That's where that tragedy
now we know why
happened.
you were out there.
Yeah. So her family lived out there. Her mom was a sheriff's deputy, which was interesting. Especially, I've always been pretty.
That can kick up the spiciness of a relationship a little bit. Not
fond of cops, but she was also the same way. She's still pretty leftist to this day. But we were dating. We were together for like 2.5, 3 years. 2 years of that we spent down, and we lived in Wilmington. I love Wilmington. If I could afford it, I would move back in a heartbeat. If we ever pop off on this show, my proposal is that we go find a studio down in Wilmington because
I've got it because where I'm gonna eventually end up is right near there too.
Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous down there. Wrightsville Beach is one of my favorite beaches of all time. Like I love it. The only places I would rather go other than that is like where it's like crystal blue water, like the Caribbean and shit. But lived down there for a couple of years with her, and then my mom and I made up. And the reason I did that was for the person I was with, because the person I was with wanted to be a dog groomer. And I said, well,
what a very specific ass fucking reason.
Yeah. And
to have you like go through that trauma.
Well, and it wasn't
like, God, your mom would just be the perfect, like, I'd be the perfect apprentice, man.
We had a couple deaths in the family. I had just lost my grandfather, who was I've said it before, but
that was your dog.
Arguably the most important person in my life when it comes to the foundation of who I am. We lost my grandfather, and that was listen. My mother was a daddy's girl. She loved her dad. I would never take that away from her, and her pain was real. And unfortunately, because of how her brain works, she used that as an in for us to reconnect. And at the time, my grandfather had passed. We went up to Long Island for the funeral. And then I spoke to her and I said, hey, the girl I'm seeing wants to be a dog groomer. And she said, okay, but you have to move up here to Greensboro. Like, I can't do anything. I don't know anybody out in Wilmington that would do it.
Jesus Christ, dude. Your mom sounds like a fucking psychology textbook come to life.
Dude, she's super manipulative, and she's really good at it. So,
yeah,
we said, okay. And our lease was conveniently going to be up soon. And we talked to the people, and we said, hey, if we break lease a month early, are you guys going to hold it against us? They were like, if you can clean out the apartment, like, really well, we'll just keep your deposit. And we said, okay, deal. So we did that. Moved up to Greensboro. My mom gifted us the money for our deposit on our own apartment up there because, we were
sounds like
early 20s, sexually active, weren't going to live with her.
Too many dogs around.
Too many dogs.
Unless you're into that.
Yeah. And so we were just like, we wanted our own space or whatever, and she acknowledged that. And she was like, yeah, I don't think it'd be fun to hear my kid fucking, so awesome.
Just remind her that she's not getting any.
She was, unfortunately. Dude, she had so many boyfriends. She had so many boyfriends while I was in high school and shit. And she dated one of the DJs from 107.5 KZL. And this was forever.
That's wild.
I don't even know if he's still there. Our floors and our walls in that house were not soundproof.
Yeah, we always forget that our parents, like when we were in high school, were, not far from the age we are now, like 30s, 40s. Because my parents had me really young.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You always forget. I'm like, God, how were they so successful and have these kids and stuff, like at the age basically almost where I'm at now? Like, yeah that's another thing. But it's weird to think about.
It is weird to think about. It's so weird. Yeah, so I heard plenty of it, and I was like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, I agree with you. So we got our own apartment. Things started to fall apart because the person I was with had never been apart from her family for that long. And also then she started to see who my mother was, which is weird, the final outcome. But anyways, we had an argument one time, and I just got done saying I'd never put hands on a woman, and I didn't put hands on her. But when we had this argument, she was like, I'm done, I'm leaving. And when she was going out the door, I grabbed her shoulder, and she goes, you just pushed me. And now...
You're like, no, technically I pulled you.
Well, now as I get older, I realize that was her easiest way out. Instead of she didn't know how to properly go
Perfect
about
opportunity.
This. It was a perfect opportunity. She said, you pushed me. I said, I didn't push you. We argued about it, and then she left. And I said, and I dealt with that for a while because I thought for sure.
Yeah, you're like, dude, I'm turning into my mom.
Yeah, like I thought it was a slip. I thought some demon had escaped from me. And as I got older and went to my therapist was like, tell me the events, how you remember it. Like, how do you actually remember it? Not how she told you it happened, how do you remember it? And when I went through it, my therapist was like, you probably shouldn't have put your hands on her. Even to grab her shoulder and say, please don't go. Because that was the wrong thing to do in that scenario.
Maybe if you were like a manlet and you were a lot smaller, it would have better optics.
Right. But either way, she used that as a way to go, I'm out. And then, literally, she left her fucking laptop there and her Facebook was signed in. So I was like getting on my Facebook, like trying to find someone to go hang out with. And I'm sitting here seeing messages come in from dudes that she's like trying to go hook up with in Greensboro. One of them was someone I considered a pretty close friend. You show up
instead? You're like, you trying to fuck, bro?
I could have done that so easily.
That would have been funny.
I one of them was somebody I considered a close friend at the time, and, moved past that, whatever. I don't even talk to the dude anymore. I'm definitely not going to call him out. It's not worth it. He's living his own life, and he's happy, and that's what I want for him. Good. Not with her. But I dealt with all that, and then... So I had a dog. His name was Flash, and I had raised that dog. I groomed that dog countless times or whatever, and I brought Flash with me when I moved down to Southport and Wilmington, and Flash was like my boy. That was my dog. And my mother had given me Flash, and so she decided that it was her place to tell the person I was with, that person could have my dog. Because the dog was a Bichon Frise, which, if you don't know what it is a big poofy white dog. But it was from, my mom had acquired the dog from some very renowned breeders of that breed, and he was like a direct descendant from a Westminster winner. And so, like, she decided that meant she could make the claim to who gets him. And so, but it was also because me and my mom were fighting at the time too, because I told her, I was like, why are you helping this person that is like literally trying to hurt me? And I need to sort through this myself, but like, I don't need you.
She's like, come on, you know why.
Yeah. Well, and she was like interjecting and everything and like putting herself in our relationship, which is something that she did often. And I finally was like, whatever, just take the dog. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I made the other person pay their fair share of the lease breaking fee because we'd been in there for like 2 fucking months at this point. And I didn't have any place to go, so I reluctantly moved back in with my mom, and that led to the last fight we had, which was ultimately the point where I decided that I needed to go no contact because it was rough. But I had some friends that were like, you can come post up with us, stay with us for a little bit. And I said, okay. And then until I figured out another place, that's where I went. And I was, I had health insurance to the job I had. And a friend of mine was like, dude, just go talk to someone. Like, yeah, I'm worried that you're not going to survive this if you don't go get it out to someone. And so I went to a therapist, and the therapist was like, there are points in your life where sometimes you just have to say, I'm not talking to this person ever again anymore until something significant changes, or that's just it. Like, they're just out of my life. And I struggled with that because it's your mother, and I was always raised that family is everything.
Yeah.
And family,
you almost feel obligated.
You do.
Yeah. Take that.
The thing that everyone who is struggling with that particular thought needs to acknowledge is family should be everything. But if they're not treating you with the love and the respect that you would treat a family member with, then they have already severed that familial tie. It's over for them. They have decided that your pain is not a deal breaker for them. They have decided that manipulating you is not something that bothers them anymore. That's it. They've already decided. You have to decide now and say, hey, this is for my well-being that I separate from you. And that is something that I would tell to everyone.
That's how you deal with the guilt.
That is how you deal with the guilt, because you have to understand that most people that are willing to stoop that low, like you go low, they go to hell type people, it typically is paired with narcissism to some degree or some other sort of mental disorder. And for the longest time I struggled because I was like, I can't fault my mother for her mental disorder. And that's absolutely correct. I cannot. I can fault her for refusing to get treatment.
For how you handle it.
And for how she handled it.
It's not your fault you have mental illness, but it is your responsibility. That's a classic thing, but it's your responsibility.
It is.
Well, and actually, I have some guests waiting outside you haven't seen in a long time. It's just a bunch of the dogs you grew. They're all old as fuck now, and I don't think they're going to make it back down the stairs, but they appreciate you, and then just a bunch of old dogs get dragged in. No, it was not your mom.
Thank God for that.
We're just responsible for a bunch of old, decrepit dogs pissing all over our podcast studio now. How do you keep from reaching back out to your mom? I'm trying to get it back to how do you keep yourself from either wanting to, or how do you just keep it from happening? Because like you said, she ambushed your wife at work.
Yeah. So after a while, she realized
you don't have her location. We still live nearby. How you do it?
Yeah. So I've seen her in public before, and the thing I do is she's just a phantom to me. We were out at a hardware store, me, the wife, both kids, and I saw her, and I just told my wife, I was like, turn down here. And she's like, why? And I was like,
just trust me.
Just turn down here. We went down the aisle, and we navigated around her, and I know my mother saw us, but that's the thing is I'm so separated from her now that I was like, okay, just it's an obstacle in the way. That's why we have to go around. Like, it wasn't a person, it was an obstacle.
Yeah.
And then I told my wife, I was like, my mother's over there, and of course she wants to. And I was like, don't look.
Yeah, the natural reaction. It's so hard to keep people from doing those natural reactions too.
The hardest part about that one, and the reason I remember that one in particular, is because I was so worried about what if the kids see and want to know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
Because
did she see you?
She saw me, and she knew, like, she saw.
Do the.
No, she didn't. I think she knows better, because I would just tell her to fuck off. But she's never met her grandkids, and she's made a big deal about it.
Yeah.
On my
That's
25th,
a good way to manipulate you right there, buddy.
Yeah, on my 25th birthday, she sent me a lovely message because Lauren was pregnant with Luca at the time, and she had found out because she had people, which, by the way, she's got like a whole spy network. And I've been very cautious. That's another reason I don't post the kids much on social media at all, is because she's got her little fucking spy network, and everybody tells her.
I'm really scared she's going to try and become friends with my parents.
I don't think she will.
We could come over
apparently,
one day. I'll be like, oh, who's? Because I don't know what she looks like. I'll be like, who's that lady? You'll be like, turn around.
Yeah.
Burn the treehouse down.
Last I heard, she was hanging out with a bunch of Mormons. So, unless your parents go to Mormon stuff, then
a lot of my friends in high school were Mormon, so
yeah, probably connections there.
Yeah, good people.
But anyways, she's hanging out with the Mormons now, and
she needs to make something else of her personality.
I guess so. Yeah,
and you know why she wants to be in your kids' lives. Not because she actually wants to be a grandma, but she wants to make that part of her personality now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's it. Like, she wants to make her grandkids her personality, but also she wants a tool to lord over me.
Yeah, don't give them the most valuable tool.
No.
Yeah.
I would not damage my children in that way. But, so when it comes to upholding boundaries, I think the boundary is no contact, right? Like, and when I say no contact, I mean, for me, the way I've explained it to people is I have already mourned my mother. There was a point in my life where my mom was a good mom. Before the mental illness took hold, before the depression and the borderline ate away at her brain and her mind and turned her into something unrecognizable, she was a good mom.
Yep.
And I loved her, and she loved me. And I had to mourn the loss of that person already. And in my heart and in my mind, I've already done that. I've had to say goodbye to someone that is still alive. And it's a difficult thing to do. But you need to understand that no matter what positivity, what goodness is bound to them in your mind, that person is gone. Because the moment that they decided that hurting you was the best route, or the moment that they decided that being malicious was part of who they are, and that's the line in the sand. Like, even if it's your racist ass uncle that's loves Donald Trump, and you say, hey, I'm not cool with that. Like, I don't fuck with racists. And he goes, well, fuck you. Guess what? He is choosing to be malicious. He's choosing to be a hateful prick. And he is deciding that his hatred for someone else is more important than his relationship with you.
It feels too good. It feels better than having a relationship with you.
It is, and it's a vindicating feeling for them somehow, but it is what it is. And there's a point where you have to sit there and go, you have to take an inventory of the situation, and you have to go, is there potential for this person to come back? And if the answer is no, and you have to be real with yourself, that is the most important thing. You can't sit there and play into your own hopes that they are. You have to acknowledge
people will disappoint you
over
99.9%.
And if you let them do it, they're going to do it again and fucking again. Okay?
Because people changing, that is a years-long process. That takes a lot to change who someone is.
Right.
Or a bunch of psychedelics.
Yeah, that's
plus
true
time.
Psychedelics did help me in the decision to go no contact, believe it or not.
They helped me release a lot of anger.
Yeah,
to the world.
I have always suggested that if people want to experiment with them, do it in a safe environment.
Yeah.
But I've never been one to say don't do it.
Yeah,
that might be. I don't do it.
I don't do it now, but I weirdly grateful I did.
So, to answer your first question, how do you uphold boundaries? You make boundaries absolute. That's the best thing you can do. Is there is no flex on these boundaries. instead of drawing lines in the sand, you build walls around yourself from those people. And you can allow gates for the people that are close to them to come and visit, but they are never allowed in. Which goes into the next conversation of how do you go about family events if you are still in contact with the rest of the family?
Don't let them take your family from you.
Do not. First off, they will. They will try with their whole entire ass being to take everything from you that they can, because using that tool to manipulate you is just another thing that they can add to their arsenal. You need to not only be very upfront with the family that you want to stay in contact with about what is happening, but explain to them why you have made the decision and explain how it made you feel. And guess what? At that point, if those family members decide that they think your no contact family member is in the right and not you, throw them on the list. Now those walls block them too, because you have to take, and there might be some people who are on the problem person and they're saying, I'm going to go no contact with my family but guess what? Even if that's the case, you'll learn your lesson at some point. Yeah. You'll realize that you have pushed everyone away. And we are a social species. That's something my mother never had to deal with, because she's
got Mormons now.
She's got Mormons.
She's got such her crew.
A social person, and she is so capable of passing herself off as a functional, fun-loving, easygoing person, that when we get to the reality of the situation, by that time, she's already developed like a strong relationship with people. And so these people go, what the fuck am I experiencing here? This is new. This is something. And so she's so social that she brings in a lot of people into her orbit.
Yeah.
And there are people that
that's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You got to have allies.
And there are people that I have spoken to years later, and they're like, what happened? Like, why is your mom saying this stuff about you? Why did you stop talking to her?
You'll find out.
I'm like, most of them know. And I'm like, think about it. Think really hard. What other functional fucking relationship do you have that works that way? None.
Yeah.
Because none of them, no relationship like that is functional. And if those people sit there and go, well, your mother's right, you're wrong, I go, okay, listen, all the love in my heart, but if you feel that way, we just don't talk anymore. Like, that's it. It's not even a malicious, like, fuck you, I hate you, go be her friend then. It's like, I have found my peace. And you are not going to be the fucking person to steal it away from me by trying to convince me that she is better than I know her to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
You deserve and know you earned that peace. So basically defend it with your life.
That's right. And that
because it is your life.
Goes into our last question here. How do you deal with the guilt that's left from their manipulation? I don't really have a great answer for this one.
The guilt is the hallmark and the remnants of that's what they want.
It's the scorch marks after getting burnt, and
don't give them what they want. If you have to make it like something like that, like why the fuck should they be happy?
Right.
And you're not.
And
that's not fair.
The thing about it is, like, I still, my wife will say something or do something, make a motion, and I'll flinch or get really agitated and defensive. And my wife has never come from that. She does not know that type of hardship or abuse. And I say that type
because your wife's dad seems like the nicest dude on the planet.
Dude, he's such an easygoing guy.
He actually recognized me when I was driving past him in a budget truck.
Really?
And he still waved at me. I didn't think he remembered me.
No, he's a good guy, and she is a very good reflection of him. Like,
your wife's a nice lady.
She is. She just takes. She keeps her circles small. That's what I'll say. And I get it. But she has never dealt with what I've dealt with. And so it's unfair for me to sit there and go, well, hey, you have an obligation to learn everything beforehand and then know how to react and be around me. It's not fair to her to do that, to put that expectation on her. So I don't. But I have had to explain, like recently we had a situation and she kept doing something that she didn't know was a problem. It wasn't her doing it to irritate me. It was just something that she had done. I had to sit there and go, hey, that actually, like, I don't want to use the word, I hate the word triggered because it makes people go like, oh, you triggered, bitch.
Yeah, people forget that it's an actual word.
Yeah, though. It is an actual word.
It does have an actual meaning and outside of the meme sphere.
It triggers a response, and that response was triggered, and I kept getting irritated, and she was like, what? Like, why are you irritable with me? And I realized, like, you don't know this. So I had to explain it to her. So the thing that you have to do is you have to acknowledge that you were manipulated, and you have to understand that that guilt, it will damage your other interpersonal relationships if you don't look it in the eyes and say, hey, this is what's happening. There will be other episodes where we talk about probably some of the worst shit, right?
Well, we gotta have lawyers first.
Yeah. Well, or she's got to die first.
Or money to be able to take from us.
Yeah. Or she's got to
make some deposits.
Or we just save those episodes for when she's gone. But you know it, and I don't want her to die. You know,
like, I was gonna ask you, thought experiment. You have a kidney match with her. She obviously has substance abuse problems. She needs a kidney. Would you, if you have a kidney to give, I don't know your medical history, would you, because you're a better person? Or would you just be like, no, we're trying to get to those episodes where you're gone?
Okay, so utilitarianism.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about. I would have to weigh that and go, am I impacting lives? Now, if my mother, over the years that I haven't spoken to her, started a charity that she had single-handedly run and was benefiting millions of people, I would probably ask the doctor to keep it anonymous, but I would give her my kidney. As it stands now, I think that would be the natural. She's also
that
old.
Was a very utilitarian response. You ain't playing.
No,
I'm the same way too. I believe in the greater good.
Do not logically I can't not be, if that makes any sense. Like I don't know how to perceive the world in any other way.
Yeah.
To me, everyone should work from a utilitarian perspective because that's all I can logically process. I can only go like if
it just makes sense.
If 1,000 people came to me and said, "You are making my life harder," and the only way to solve that problem is to end it, I would genuinely sit there and go, am I impacting more than 1,000 people positively?
Yeah.
And if not, see you later.
I'd be like, no, we have a podcast.
Yeah. So hopefully the podcast will impact more than 1,000 people positively so that those 1,000 don't.
That means we're doing well too. Not to sound selfish, and I guess the perspective I can give is as someone who is one generation removed from what you went through, because both of my parents, eerily, very similar experience to you.
That's why I like them so far.
I know.
I love your parents, dude. They're so good.
My mom, she's luring you in. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm kidding. It's a genuine. And so they both, I'm not going to air my whole family thing, but I will just say very, very similar to you.
And
they made it a point of both of their lives to work around and fight through, the problems that it does leave you with, because you deal with mental problems. I know you do because you tell me. And it's directly related to how you're raised. But you can see it's very unfortunate that they didn't have love come down to them. But you can see the fruits of them providing that love downwards to us. And it comes with a different kind of satisfaction, I'm sure. And it sucks to, not have that love in your life. But at least, and I see with your son, when I met your son, your oldest one, the first time, he reached out his hand and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, whoa. That made me buy in even more to being your friend and wanting to do this with you, because I was like, that is a reflection of someone who is actively trying to make his kids' lives better.
And that is...
And I hate seeing the things that my parents sometimes have to deal with mentally because of it. But damn, they made a good life.
That is such an important thing.
And their son is not perfect. I'm not going to say I didn't have my issues in my 20s, but
that's why they're your 20s.
But they get the satisfaction of at least breaking that and
here's the thing:
being able to pass it down.
If you were an absolute nightmare, they probably would have been like, "We got to cut this one loose."
Yeah, they're like, "We at least have another one."
But
that's why we made two. That's redundancy,
right? Redundancy. That's the whole point of why I was brought up millennials and Gen Z in the beginning is because we are like the first generation that is. It's becoming socially acceptable to do that.
To be good parents.
To be good parents and to cut the fat. Right?
Is it gay to care about your children?
Is it gay to love your kids? And if it is, hey, it's okay to be gay. So who gives a shit? But
got him.
The point is, the generation before us, the generation before millennials, Gen X, I guess is what your parents fall into.
Yeah, they're not boomers.
That it's harder for them because you also have to understand, like, with so many social changes, with population increases, with technology connecting more and more people, like, you no longer are so confined to the family structure as your stability anymore. And that is one of the few silver linings is it has allowed people to expand beyond
you can have your chosen
parameters. Family. And you can make the decision to be better. And that's what you should always be focused on. Make the decision to be better than they were to you. I'm never going to be a perfect dad. I don't ever have that expectation for me. As a matter of fact, I'm satisfied with if my kids look back on their graduation day and go, I got here because you did your best and because you loved me, then that is all I can ask for.
That's all I need.
As long as I can develop fully functional human beings that are good and loving and kind fucking humans.
And that will still talk to you.
That'll still talk to me. But at the same time, if I succumb to my mental illness and I become bad for them, I want them to walk away from me.
Yeah.
I need them to do that. And in order to prevent that from happening, I have to keep myself in check. If my mental health is declining, it is my responsibility as their parent to make sure I'm okay so that I'm not putting it off onto them. And so our anonymous little...
at least we know we'll have one person listening to this episode.
And I will reach back out. Typically with every dad advice, I try to reach out to the person and send an email like, hey, the episode's coming up.
You may turn our notifications back on. Again. Sorry if we lost you at any point.
And so, but I think we addressed the questions. Of course, if you want me to talk more on this, I'm not afraid to talk about this. Obviously, it took a lot to get out here and do it, but it is a bit cathartic to get it out there and talk about it. And it is something that if my story, if my experiences benefit you in any way, shape, or form, that is the desired outcome. That's why I started this. We started this. I should not take credit because all I did was go, hey, Phil, you're pretty popular on the internet now. You want to be on my podcast with me?
Sure. No one's ever asked me to be on a podcast.
Like, this idiot from high school just hit me up, but it sounds like a cool thing. But no, that's my whole point with this. My part of this is that I want to help people. I want to help people, whether it be through laughter, whether it be through giving my experience and helping them tailor their reactions to life through that or whatever. But just understand that we live our lives provided of value by the people that raise us. And if you grew up feeling less than good or like you were lesser, that is a reflection of the people that raised you. And if it hurts, you need to look into why it hurts, and you need to go talk to someone, figure out how to make things better for yourself. Don't carry that in to the next generation. I know a lot of our generation doesn't even want to have kids, but if you do decide to be a parent, make sure, look, you will never be ready to have kids. I have friends that are like barreling towards 40 and they're like, oh God, I gotta have kids, but I'm not ready. And I had to explain to them, like, you will never be.
I'm like, well, you're not going to have a choice whether you can or not soon enough.
On paper,
Them swimmers are slowing down.
They need a break, okay?
They're starting to be like those old dogs that I brought in here. Now it's starting to smell like old dead dog in here. Just an example. That's just a metaphor of the relationship with your mother.
That's right.
It smells like old dead dogs.
Old dead dogs. But you'll never be ready 100% of the time. You're never going to have perfect financial stability, especially not in this fucking economy. You're never going to have all the resources lined up. You're never going to be able to plan everything perfectly. And I'm telling you right now, anybody who thinks that they can go into parenting and it be planned out to the T, you are in for a rude fucking
I think
awakening.
throughout human history, humans are 0 for 80 billion on
so
being
far.
perfect parents. So don't put the pressure on yourself to be the 1 out of 80 billion. It's okay.
Right. The responsibility that you do carry with you is to be better. And if you take nothing else away from this, just understand that you are responsible for not letting your trauma dictate how the rest of your life goes. It is not your fault that you were traumatized, but it is absolutely your responsibility to be accountable for the way you react to that trauma. And I think that's the most important takeaway that I could give here. Do you have any closing thoughts before we shut this bad boy down? Because we're on the clock here.
Just go ahead and hand us all the awards for this episode.
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Because that's the only reason we did it.
That's right.
Not to actually help people.
I manufactured all the stories just so we could get some tears.
Your name's not even Cole.
No, you'll never know that.
You're just some fucking yuppie from LA who I hired to come in and pretend to be my friend from high school.
That explains all the tattoos.
Yeah. Yuppie boy.
No, so this is an episode to close on a dad formation for sure.
Yeah.
So why don't we? My dad formation for this week is: you are better than what people have made you feel like you are. So if someone has told you you are less, don't listen to them. You're great, and you can be as great as you want to be. Just make sure that you're keeping yourself in check. Okay? We love you. We're your new dads now. If you don't have a good dad, if your dad's not
God, I don't make enough money for more kids.
No. You're all grown, so you have to pay
Oh,
your
that's
own
right.
bills.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes it a lot easier.
You have to pay your own bills. This is, metaphorically, we're your dads now. But no, just understand that you don't have to limit yourself to the image that other people have created of you. You know, be who you want to be, and put that into the world, and you'll achieve that. It's my dad formation.
My dad formation is listen to what other dads say sometimes and do what he said.
There we go. We nailed it.
I'll let you have that one.
Thanks.
You earned it.
So this episode was built around a dad vice, but if you have questions, if you want us to talk about a certain thing, you can send in an email to thedadvoicepod@gmail.com. I'm trying to buy our domain, so hopefully soon we'll have a dad vice at the dadvoice
and you can
podcast.com and really have a fancy one. But for now, it's thedadvoicepod@gmail.com, and put in the subject line dad vice. Like you saw today, if you want to remain anonymous, you can. We will not say your name. If
Look at that, we did it.
Want it. Yeah, we did it.
We did not give away Greg's identity.
That's right. Oh no, Greg. Obviously, the person's name is not Greg.
Now you just narrowed it down to 50 billion other people.
To anyone not named Greg. But yeah, if you do want dad vice, you email us with subject line dadvice at thedadvoicepod@gmail.com and put in there, if you want to remain anonymous, just put in the email that you want to remain anonymous, but you can ask us anything. If you want us to talk, shape an episode around a subject, we can, as long as there's enough to talk about it, enough to say about it. So if you want your dad voice answered, go ahead and do that. You can follow us on all of our socials at the Dad Voice Pod everywhere. It's the Dad Voice Pod r/the Dad Voice Pod on Reddit. We don't have Twitter. I really don't think we will.
I've neglected the hell out of the Reddit, but that's one of those things where if you eventually get a community, they'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, they'll start building it up for you. Even if you guys want to get on there and just talk shit and be like, what the fuck was
we just have to
about?
occasionally pop in and make sure it didn't turn into some weird alt-right echo chamber.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Be like, all right, things are still good.
Yeah, that'd
all right.
be so rough.
Goodbye.
We'll have to find moderators if it actually does pop off.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've made it this far, I assume this episode meant something to you. So definitely subscribe, because we will talk about stuff as we start to shape out this podcast, especially in season 2. I think we've really got a good grip on our identity, and we're going to talk more about parenting focused stuff, dad focused stuff. We use our Dad Blast, which we are still debating on whether or not to make that its own separate podcast, but we use that as our like outlet for our goofies and our riffing and our, like current events talk. But this will be a much more focused thing going into season 2. Dad, our new schedule, I just posted it on our socials. I'm going to have to copy and paste that into all of our other socials, but our new schedule, Dad voice episodes, full-length episodes will come out every Tuesday. The audio will release at 6 a.m. and the video will release at 5 p.m. on YouTube. And the Dad Blast will still be on Wednesdays, but the audio will release at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, and the video will release at 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. So make sure
we're dialing it in.
Make sure your
algorithm is ours now.
Yeah, it
better run for its life.
The analytics have really pushed us in there. But so keep up with that, however you want to. Do us a favor. If you listen on Spotify, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast, whatever, if the place you're listening gives you the option to review us, give us a review. I would say good review, but I don't want you to be dishonest, because we are still in a very
I'm very fragile.
We are fragile, but we're in an early stage. So if you have ideas that you'd like to express to us, as long as you're nice about it and you're not like, these fucking idiots suck, I'm going to be very receptive. And I think Phil really just lets me kind of filter through that shit and bring the positive feedback to us. He manages all the comments.
I only make you give me the positive feedback because I just have borderline personality disorder, dude. I'm like, no, only tell me the positive.
And in exchange, Phil moderates all the fucking comments on our socials, so I don't get in there and start wars with people. But I think that's a good place to hop off. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully next episode we'll have some really nice microphones, and hopefully you guys will really like this set. All right, bye everyone.
Goodbye.